Hello, everyone. Sorry we're a bit late. I know it's now just quarter past 2 o'clock in the UK, so it's like quarter past 10 in Manila. I hope that some of you are still awake. It's Sunday once again, so I'm really excited. It's like my favorite day of the week now, and it's actually the month of February now, which is the month of love, and I'm really happy that my first guest for this month of love is actually he's well loved, as I can see from social media and from his posts and people saw like interacting with him on social media. I know that this person is really well loved and really so like popular in Liverpool and Liverpool music scene. But yeah, so I'm really excited about this. So, my dear friends, I mean, I'm really sorry because we're a bit late, so I was a bit panicking. So, yeah, so my dear friends, please welcome Mark Robson. Yay!
Hey, hi. At last.
Sorry, Mark. I mean, it was like whenever something sort of like technical, problems or glitches, I panic, and it was like, oh my
Well,
god,
it's always the way, and especially when you go live, Red, it's just not, it's not a good situation, is it? But here we are. We got there. We're here.
yeah,
It's
we
all good
got
now.
there. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. Cause sometimes I saw like I write my script and then I saw like I keep forgetting. I keep sort of like forgetting it, especially when I panic. But we're here now, and I'm really glad that that you're here and you're very patient with me and the technical problems that we've had.
No problem.
Um, like I said, on social media, I could tell that a lot of people really, they love you, and you
Oh,
are
well.
well known in the Liverpool music scene.
Yeah, notorious more than than anything else, I suppose. But yeah, it's
Well, yeah, I remember last year. I think I saw someone so like posted about it, or maybe you were tagged somewhere. So I thought, oh my god, that's a really nice profile photo that you got, and you're obviously, it's like a drummer. It's a drummer photograph. So
all right. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I thought I'm gonna send him a friend request because I would like to so like get him on as the drummer, and luckily you accepted it. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then last year I actually got to see you live in Liverpool
Oh, with
in
the Brigantians. Yeah.
yeah, in a venue called Round the Corner, which
Yeah.
is
Great venue.
fantastic. Yeah,
Fantastic venue. Yeah.
yeah, that was the first time that I've been there, and I've heard about it. I've been so like, people have been so like posting about this venue, but that was the first time that I've actually been to that place.
Yeah, it was a great gig that night with the Thanes, wasn't it? That was the gig, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
It's to be honest, it's like one of the best posters that I've ever seen. I kept
Yeah.
posting that, and you've signed it as well, and
A-
Andy, yeah, and
Andy
Andy
knocked it
Rowe.
out the park with that poster. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
It's amazing. It's just one of those where we're like really, you know, absolutely like you've got the Thanes and the Beat Pack and the Brigantians as well. So but
Hey.
yeah, it was actually it's very memorable for me because it's like the end of the Soup Dragon store, and I was so
Oh right, yeah, of course, yeah. You
yeah,
know,
I was following them all over the country.
yeah, I could see you were busy. You still are busy, yeah.
And then on my way back from Glasgow to Manchester, I stopped by Liverpool to see you, see
Yeah,
the Brigantians. So
that's
very
great.
memorable sort of like gig that one. But yeah. So, anyways, Aiden said that sound and vision now a okay. So Aiden is my tech support. So now we're gonna start properly. So welcome to Ask the Drummer.
Thank you.
Episode 112 is all about you, Mark Robson.
Hey.
Yay.
Hey.
um, so I don't know if I got it right, but did you say that you're not originally from Liverpool?
Oh no, I'm from Liverpool, definitely. Mill Road Hospital. I was born. No, actually, I was born in Everton. It says so on my birth certificate, you know. So
So you're born and bred in Liverpool then?
absolutely, and yeah, I've lived elsewhere. I've lived in Holland and places like that, you know. But I was born and bred in Liverpool.
Wow. So can you tell us what your Liverpool was like when you were growing up?
In 1950, it was black and white. It was still the whole world was still black and white at that point. No, it was great. Well, I grew up in the 60s, so obviously Liverpool was a fantastic place to be as a child. We felt like we were the centre of the universe culturally and politically and football wise, everything. You know, it was a culture that was really in coming to the fore.
Yeah.
So we, it was really optimistic and great times that we had in growing up in Liverpool. And the spirit of Liverpool was never stronger than those times. So it was good.
Yeah. Of course, it was the time of the Beatles, but you're probably too young. Too young.
No, the first song I ever remember knowing at all was "Can't Buy Me Love." That's the first song I ever remember knowing in any way, shape, or form, and that was always on the radio. Was amazing in the 60s, and all the family were all onto it, and everyone listened to listening to the Beatles on the radio in the 60s was so
Yeah.
exciting. It was great. It was it was a good thing to have experienced. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But are you from a musical family yourself?
Not really. No, my granddad maybe. My granddad was a tap dancer and a harmonica player back in the day, way back in the day, in the 1920s.
Oh,
Charlie Williams. He was a huffer, as they were called. But no, apart from that, I'm the only musical one in my family. So
yeah. But music is a big part of your sort of, like childhood, though. It was like when you were growing up. Is that
absolutely,
right? Yeah. Yeah. Um. Just to sort of like, so 60s was sort of like when you were young, but the 80s is actually, or the 70s, I'd say, is when you were a teenager.
yeah. And I
And
discovered punk rock. Yeah,
yeah, were you part of that Eric scene? Like
Abs-
the famous
absolutely.
Erics.
My first ever gig was on Eric's. The first time I ever played on a stage was on Eric's. And I was in a band called Psychomesh, and we'd all been together for about 3 months,
Yeah,
um, as was the way. And we supported The Cure for our first gig.
the
So,
Cure.
and that
Oh my
includes, I
god!
think, Jem Kelly.
Of course, yeah, of
Yeah,
course, yeah, yeah,
Jem Kelly's was famously in Psychomesh with us.
yeah,
It was our first gig. We got together. We rehearsed for 2 months. Roger Eagle asked us, "Did we want to play?" And we all said, "Of course." And then we played. We supported the Cure. We done the matinee in the afternoon, and then the show in the evening, and it was fantastic. It was, we couldn't believe
wow.
our luck.
Well, actually, so like I am, I'm going to ask you about Psychomesh, but so you're already sort of like in a band when you were so. It's not like with some people they were so like just fans of going to Eric's, but you were actually so like in a band already when you went
Sort
to Eric.
of, yeah. It's quite weird. It all came about by accident, to be honest. There was a party in my parents' house, and some punks came along to the party, and they saw my record collection. And then after we had the chat, they went, "Do you want to be in a band?" And I went, "Yeah, yeah, sure." I'd never tried anything, I'd never tried anything at all. Never thought I'd
Yeah,
be in a band. But they just asked me, so I went, "Yeah, sure." They said, "What
but
you play?" I said, "Nothing." They said, "Okay, you're the singer then," you know. So I was the singer. So I got an old hospital announcement microphone, and we auditioned a drummer called Kelvin Rains on the back of the bus going into town, and he tapped a Pretty Vacant out on his legs. And we said,
yeah,
"Wow, you're the man. You're the drummer." So he bought a drum kit. And we all went back to rehearse. And when we got back to rehearse, he actually couldn't play the drums at all. So I thought, well, we're all here ready to rehearse. I'll give it a go. So I got behind and I went ting ting pom ting ting, and they went, "Okay, you're the drummer," and that was it.
oh my,
And then
but
2 months
you're
later,
originally the singer.
yeah,
You
yeah,
you
yeah.
were
So,
originally this.
but the drummer
Wow.
couldn't play, and I could play at least a bit better than him. So that's how I was. It was completely by accident that I became the drummer.
So was that the moment that you got into drumming?
Absolutely, yeah. That was the point. I just thought, wow, I can act. Well, the point that it really came home is after we supported the Cure. We just thought I can actually do this. This is something I'm allowed to do.
Yeah,
I was 17 years old or something, um, and so I never wanted to do anything else after that moment. So it was a special moment. Yeah, it dictated what came next. Everything.
yeah,
I just became obsessive about bands and music and and playing and all. And Liverpool was great at that time anyway for all that for creative. So even if you
yeah,
weren't previously a creative, you could become one, and there was the inspiration there for you to follow. Plenty
yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
So
well, that's what's so good about Liverpool. I think even now, I don't know what it is about Liverpool, but it just produced quite a lot of sort of like talented musicians and
yeah,
creative people.
there's so more creatives per square inch than anywhere else in the world. So. And it's a fantastic thing because when you've toured the world, you come to places and they've got no music scene, and you think, well, they've got nothing but the high street and the bar
Yeah,
and Weatherspoons, and that's all there is to their whole culture, and it seems so empty. But then, and you remember, because you get every now and again, you think, oh, Liverpool, blah, blah, blah. But you think, thank God for Liverpool. It's just like
yeah,
no, it's
you can say that. Like, thank God for Liverpool. But can you sort of like actually pinpoint what is it about Liverpool? The
Okay, you want me to
so
pinpoint what it is about Liverpool? There's they fight above the weight in the most dramatic of ways. Um, the self belief is fairly unshakable, and that's it's a bit of Irish blood in the system. It's part of. Oh yeah, I know I can't put my finger on exactly what it is that makes Liverpool great. I know it's great though. I do know it's
yeah.
great. So.
Well,
Um,
talking about supporting the Cure, was it Lowell Tolhurst who was the drummer at the time?
yeah,
Was it
yeah.
Lowell?
It was the original lineup. They just brought out Killing an Arab and yeah, Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and the first, if, just after they'd been playing with the Banshees on tour. So
Wow. Oh my God, that's amazing. See, I
yeah.
didn't know that. I've heard about Psychomesh, but I didn't know about supporting the
But
Cure. So did
Dykemesh are one of Liverpool's great unknowns. They seem to
you,
have been everywhere, supporting everybody, doing all sorts of things. Their last gig was a wonderful story. We supported orchestral manoeuvres in Amsterdam, and that night there was a riot, and the gig got postponed, and we all got chased all around Amsterdam, and that was our last gig. So
oh
we
my
went out with a
God.
bang. It was
So
good.
did you actually sort of like talk to the Cure? Or did you sort of like talk to them
I
all?
think Robert said, "Could you please leave the room now?" or something to that effect. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, could you just leave me alone, please, or something? I don't. Yeah, something like that.
well, well, saying that that's actually what got you into drumming, and you didn't have any sort of like prior experience, so like
No, 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 not
you were the
whatsoever.
singer, you said. So did you have any proper drumming lessons? So
Never.
like,
No,
good?
never had one.
No.
I should have done. I should have done by now. I might know some rudiments or something, but no, just a great joiner in it, as Pete Townsend used to say. Um, Yeah, I've just always been able to sort of hold my own on the stage. I'm not the greatest. I don't claim to be any great shakes as drummers go. But I enjoy. I love doing what I do, and I love playing with bands. I love being in rooms with musicians and trying to create things. So why not?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Psychomesh was actually your first band. Who came up with the name?
It was a guy called Brian Moore. He had, and this is one of the things when we all got together for the first time. This guy was full of ideas. He was creative. They were interesting. He had a sort of great worldview and stuff. And he had this band with the name, and he had the name and everything, and it was Latin for minds in gear. Um, and so it sounded like it meant something. So we went for it. It was
Yeah,
good.
well, well, before I actually met you and knew about you, I've heard of Psychomash because of Jam Kelly. Like you
Oh yeah,
mentioned, Kelly, he was in Psychomash,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I've actually seen a few photographs of the band. I mean, a young Jam Kelly, and
Very
it's
young Jem Kelly. Yeah, he was
yeah,
still.
because you're probably aware that he's very popular in the Philippines. You know, with the Wild Swans and the Lotus
Yeah, of
Eaters.
course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't sort of like stay in Psychomash because apparently, I mean, this is
No,
like
I saw what Paul Simpson said in the book, and that's about right. You know, Jem, he did stand out. He did stand out above. He stood out above everybody in the scene at that time because he was really musical, and the most of the punk scene wasn't really that musical. You know, you look at Big in Japan and bands like that, and it's just we were just having a go. Jerry
yeah,
actually could play, you know, that was the difference, and he had a lovely way with melodies and guitar melodies, and he stood out. So it was no surprise we had that he was poached in that sense because he
yeah,
was he was really good. So
yeah. So how did you feel when actually he left Psychomash to be in the Wild Swans with Paul Simpson?
it was fine. We just I can't remember how we felt, to be honest. There was no bad feeling as far as I know. Um, No, there was, there's always a bit of oddness around those times, but we replaced him with a guy called Colin Redmond's Reg,
Yeah,
who also got poached from us by War, Heat and Pink Military and bands like that from the time. So we had this thing about, we were a good feeder team whereby we were we'd spot the good musicians, give them a platform, and then someone else would come in and go, oh, they're really good, let's have them. So I don't know, there's something flattering in that in itself, isn't there? But
yeah.
we were just, it was okay. We didn't have any bad feelings. So
Well, how long did Psychomash last?
um when was it? From about 1978 till about 1981 or something like that.
Yeah, but you weren't
I,
able to sort of like record or release something, were you?
you know what? All the bands I've been in, we have this sort of thing, this adversity to recording anything and putting anything. That's probably why nobody knows who I am, I suppose. Because none of the bands I ever get round to putting stuff out. I was in the high five just after they finished. Just one of those things, really. It's never bothered me. The Glee, I was made up when the Ponderosa, we put an album out with the Ponderosa Glee boys, but no,
Yeah,
Psychomesh didn't put anything out. They done some demos, and they changed the name to something else and done a John Peel session. So and that was a pretty good session.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no,
But
yeah.
you obviously had your own sort of like original material,
Oh,
because
absolutely, yeah.
yeah, because do you know that I don't know if you've heard of this Revolutionary Spirit from Cherry Red
Yeah,
Records, and it's like you you see like loads of bands there that we've not
yeah, yeah.
heard of.
But
I
not
mean,
Psychomesh.
but not Psychomass.
No.
That's true. I mean, Jem Kelly actually had like five
Yeah,
bands
yeah,
in that
but not Psychomesh.
compilation.
I don't know. Maybe it's quite an enigmatic position we hold amongst it all because we've never really, we haven't documented or whatever it was we thought we were doing.
Yeah,
Um, as there's we've got a similar syndrome now with a band called Raw Bones. They're like the Cramps, and they're great when they're on form, but they've never recorded anything in 10 years.
yeah.
Um, um, it doesn't seem important. It seems less important in the technological age and the social media age. But I mean, maybe that's just where we're at with it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but nowadays, I mean, those bands who've actually so like done something, they're so like bringing out all these maybe not really demo, but maybe they had like a master tape or things, and then now they're releasing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah,
people who are releasing demos before they should, because the
yeah,
technology's there, and compared to the 80s or something, the early 80s, it sounds like a professional recording compared to that time very easily, and so people are sort of, I suppose, not fooled, but enthused to put that out as is. I think that's a mistake. I always like that extra level of production,
yeah, yeah,
to make it you know, the old showbiz adage, it's just got to be that bit bigger. It's got to be a bit more exaggerated just to get across. It's,
Yeah,
you know, and so
yeah.
yeah.
Well, does anyone have any of the originals? So like, or you didn't do any recording at all. So no,
I, I
no
did.
tapes or anything.
You know, do you know Lynn Sangster from
Yeah,
Kiss Lines?
yeah,
Yes, Lines. That
yeah.
she's got loads of Psychomesh demos. She sent them to me, and I've got them on a hard drive somewhere, but I can't locate them. So, um, but I know Mick had demos of Psychomesh, for example. Mick had taped us off the radio, off the Phil Ross show. Uh,
Oh my god.
and that was before Mick had any bands. He was still planning to be in a band. He hadn't even done Egypt for Now at that point, you know. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm looking forward to
And
yeah.
of course, Big Head and Jem Kelly were in the band together. So like the dance party with
Oh
Yorkie and
yeah, with Yorkie and Mark Cowley. Yeah,
see
that's it.
you get to know about this because they're in that compilation, so like box set from
Yeah,
Cherry
I
Red.
remember them. I remember them at the time as well. You know, yeah, because Yorkie was a hub of a lot of things. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, it's
Well,
yeah.
so after Psychomash, what was your next band? Because I know that you've been in loads of so like different bands.
Well,
So was
I
it
went to Holland. I went to Holland for a couple of years. I was in a few bands there. Mainly studio projects that never got off the ground. But there was one called Amsterdam 501. Um, you know, I was just being a bohemian, just kicking around as you do, uh, trying to be cool, playing with different bands, going out and just enjoying the lifestyle in Amsterdam of being an English boho, you know, you know, a libertarian abroad. Um, so, but it was good. You know, yeah, there's music that I've made a whole load of music there, which never got released as well. So it's who
Yeah.
knows? One day someone may collate it all together. I don't
Yeah.
know.
But how long did you stay there? How long
Uh,
did you stay in Holland?
4.5 years. Um, and then when I came back, I joined the High Five, a band. I
Well,
replaced Rob Jones. You know
Rob,
Rob.
yeah, oh yeah, I had
Rob
Rob
left.
Jones when I was the drummer as well. So I was like,
Yeah,
I didn't know that you were so like in the high five as well.
I replaced Rob. He'd left. He'd had enough by that point, and he just left. And the singer asked me to join, so I spent a little time in doing that, and then you know I had some great gigs supporting Billy Bragg just before the 1979 election, which
Wow.
just before the 1987 election. Sorry. And we done Stand Down Margaret, which was a highlight of my moment. You know, to 4,000 people in Runcorn, and that was a big moment. I loved doing that because I'm quite political. Um, but yeah, so yeah, when I came back from Holland, that was what I done. I joined the High Five, and
Oh
then
wow.
that was 1987 going up to 89,
Yeah. I'm
and
going
then
to
I
sort of
joined.
like say it's a bit difficult. So like Googling. Oh, hello. Lost you there. Oh, hello. We've
The
lost the
prob
camera there or something.
Yeah,
I thought it was like a.
the phone rang.
Oh,
And it's another drummer called Connor Colford. Trying,
oh, that's he.
I think he wants a piece of the action. To be
Oh,
honest.
I don't recall. Um, yeah, because I was just saying that it's a bit difficult. So, like, googling your name because on Discogs, I think it's because when you were in Psychomesh and Psychomesh never did any recording or released any material, so
Yeah,
your name is actually not in any of those. So, like,
yeah, yeah. Um,
even the high five. I mean, I didn't
no,
know that
no.
you were in the high five.
Even in Rain, I joined Rain after the High Five, and there's still I get, you know. I just seem to be in those little pockets where nothing's going on or nothing's happening, but I'm the bridge to the next phase or whatever. I don't know, you know. So I don't. It doesn't bother me that I'm not getting publicity for it. You know. I,
Well, on Wikipedia, the what do you call the entry for rain? Uh, it says that it's Tony McGuigan who's the drummer, but it's
Yeah.
actually your name was actually part of those past members. So it was, so it's there. So
Oh, hey.
you've got your
Recognition.
name there as a past member. So so who was the drummer first, you or Tony McGuigan?
Me. I was the first drummer. I
Wow.
was that. I was drummer. Yeah, when we done all the small stuff locally and got it off the ground and made ourselves popular enough to be courted by all the record companies, and typical thing. We went with the biggest record company, and then it sort of we had too much fun, I guess. I think we were having far too much fun, to be honest. Um, yeah, and it sort of it got out of hand, and it sort of it all went a bit pear shaped, and it just all
Oh,
had to change. So I didn't want to be there. The record company didn't want me to be there. Um, I know I was sharing a flat with Marty Campbell at the time. We both lived. We were living. We living like the monkeys to get it first up, best dressed. Um, it was great. It was still a great time. We got an awful lot of money. We did party an awful lot, and we did try to make some decent music in that time. But yeah, then Mac joined, and love Tony Mac. You can't not love Tony Mac.
oh yeah,
He's such a great fella.
he
Um,
is. He is. Yeah,
and he's having look. Well, his boy Sonny's playing now, isn't he? Which looks
that's
great.
true.
Looks
Yeah, yeah,
fantastic stuff. Yeah, looking forward to seeing more of that with. So,
yeah. And I actually got to meet Grandad McGuigan as well. So it's like
oh,
three
oh,
generations of
oh, wow,
McGuigan.
wow, indeed. Well, his dad's a drummer as well. Tony's dad's a drummer,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
he? Yeah, yeah.
And I think I've seen it on uh, Twitter that he's going to be playing, I think in August, with supporting Pete Best, Pete Best band.
Oh, Tony's
Because
dad.
Grandad McGuigan is in another band, Terry
Okay.
Carl Terry or
Where,
something.
where are they going to be playing?
Do you know that museum on Matthew Street, the Beatles Museum there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, cool.
yeah. I think it's in August. Pete Best is going to be doing a gig there, a special one. So, and I think the support band is going to be Carl Terry and
And the
where.
cruises. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and Grandad McGuigan, he drums for in that band. So
Yeah.
hopefully I could get
Okay.
that.
Real. No,
Yeah,
that's.
that would be really good. But but anyway, so you were in Rain, and there were some really good publicity shots that I've seen on Facebook when I was all like, doing my script for you. So because you
All
were
right.
on, I didn't actually realize that that's you at the front of the
Oh,
photograph.
yeah, that was me posing. That was me pouting and posing. It was yeah. It's good. It's one of my favorite photographs actually. I do like that one. You know, yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah. And because there's a connection with the real people as well. Because I think Rain and the real people, so like released an album,
We
um, which is
both got signed to Sony at the same time, CBS Sony,
yeah,
um, and it was it was literally the A&R offices were next to each other in Soho Square in the same building, right next door to each other. So we sort of I already knew the real people from Chris was the newspaper boy in our street in Bootle, you see, when we were all still at school. Um, and so and I've got a younger brother who was in the same class as Tony. We knew, we knew of each other when we were kids.
yeah,
I was the older punk rocker that Tony looked up to at least back then. So yeah. And then when the Rain Real People thing happened, it was it was either or for a while.
yeah,
I love the Real People. I think they're fantastic, And then when I left Rain, I ended up working with them in the office. I went to work with them in the office while they were doing all the stuff with Oasis and all that. So
oh
uh,
wow,
good times, good times.
yeah. And then of course Tony McGuigan now jumps in the real people as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's replaced the other Tony, which was Tony Elson. It was a great drummer. Yeah, it's a
So
small world, Liverpool, for that sort of thing, you know.
I know it's all like you're all connected. You're also
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
so after Rain, uh, what other bands did you play in?
After Rain,
Yeah,
after Rain, I give it a rest for a while after Rain because yeah, it was a bit much actually. It come to a head. Um, who did I play in after that? Next band. Well, the Raw Bones and the Ponderosa Glee, but there was a load of bands that never got off the ground, didn't have names. Just loads of little bits and pieces, you know,
yeah, yeah,
stuff that you just try. I've always got a room with drums set up in
yeah.
them, so you
Well,
sort of invite people. Yeah, loads of projects which got halfway to something, then just stopped. But I suppose Raw Bone, the Ponderosa Glee Boys was the next major one that I was a part of.
yeah. Well, I googled Ponderosa Glee Boys, and I didn't know that because I thought it was like a new band, but I didn't realize that they were actually been around for a long time. I was like, it,
Absolutely,
it and also the other thing that I found out is Doreen Allen managed them.
and there
Because
was recently the manager. Doreen's out of circulation at the moment. So I don't think her health's that hot. Hope you get well soon, Doreen.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so I mean, the Ponderosa Glee Boys, it was a whole Eric's thing. I was with them at the very beginning, not playing drums. I actually went to their first rehearsal, and their drummer was Steve Coy, and I'm not, he really couldn't play when we got there. And I said to me, I'll try these things. This is what I know. This is how much I know so far. Try these. And he's all going ding, bong, ding. And then he just ran with that. But Steve ran with it from there. But because I was showing him, Carl actually said, why don't we just get him in the band as the drummer? And I was already, of course, I was already in Psychomesh, so I didn't want to join any other bands. But I should have been the Ponderosa Glee Boys' first drummer as well,
oh
weirdly
my
enough. So
god,
when it came to getting back together 38 years later,
yeah, yeah.
I was the obvious choice because I was still around, you know. So good.
Yeah, I just didn't know that because I have heard of them, but it was only like a recent thing because they released an album, or you released an album. It was 2021 or 2020, I think it was the first Awake. I think it's called
Yeah.
Awake.
Was it 2019 or 20?
2019.
You know what? I can't remember the years. I know we released it slap bang into the pandemic. You know,
Yeah,
that was perhaps didn't do it any favors. There was everything stopped at that point, and we just gone, oh, it was a great album. What we thought was a great album, and I still think it's fantastic. I think it's a fantastic album personally.
yeah,
Um, some great tunes on there, and you know, it was a great experience, that album as well, because we had Mike Mooney on it, Phil Hartley from Space.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
it was, you know, it was. I love that album, to be honest. Politically, still feel like it's obviously still relevant, and it was bad politics on the album that I still feel I could stand right behind, and
yeah.
not you know. But
But,
also, it was written in 3 weeks, most of it.
oh,
Uh,
really?
it was written, the whole thing. Because Carl, the singer, lives in Australia. He could only come over for 2 months of the year, and we had to rehearse. We literally rehearsed for 3 weeks together and done a gig, and we wrote the set in that 3 weeks, which is it was just it's one of those special moments. Doesn't happen too often. You get a group of people, they go into a room and it goes. Carl had about 5 bass lines, but we had an album written in 3 weeks. Only the last song was not part of all that. That was already written in Australia by Carl, and me and Phil Hartley helped him rearrange it later. But when we went over there. But yeah, it was you know, when you get Mike Mooney was, you know, we had him, he was on fire. Phil Hartley, brilliant bass, absolutely brilliant bass player, and it just went bang, and we just kept writing songs. And almost every time Mike Mooney would step up and have a
Yeah,
go with his guitar, he'd just bang, bang, he'd just do some riff, and we'd all join in, and we'd have a song by the end of it, you know. And it was just it was great. I still, you know, it's a shame that album just went slap bang into the middle of it's typical of me. I don't appear anywhere else in the history, and when I finally do get something out, it just goes, "Oh, I have that as a pandemic for you,"
Exactly.
you know.
That COVID happened. It was
COVID,
like,
yeah,
yeah. But so Ponderosa Glee Boys, Carl Eaton is the only original member, and of course, I mean, you would have been the original drummer, but because you were in Psychomash, so is it just Carl Eaton then? And
well, Mike Mooney was in the Ponderosa Glee Boys just before they split up for the final time.
right, okay,
So he was. Well, there was. I think they done some. They sounded a lot like the Psychedelic Furs back in those days, and Mike had played with the Psychedelic Furs, so
yeah.
he was an obvious choice. Yeah, but yeah. I forgot what the question was. What was the question?
No, so like the original, so like the original, he was the only original member of
Yeah,
Ponderosa Glee Boys. But you know, I didn't realize that Mike Mooney was also a member back then.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. He was not an original member, but he was one of the members. It went through a
Before
lot
they
of
split
lineups
up.
actually. Psychomesh actually stole the singer from the Ponderosa Glee Boys. um,
They're all
this
these
is
sort
that.
like swapping of band members and things like that.
It's Liverpool. It was everyone does it. It's just we all know each other. Everyone's always
Yeah,
surprised that
yeah,
we all know each other. But it's just a fact of Liverpool life. So
yeah,
it's good.
yeah. Well, talk about Mike Mooney again. Mike Mooney is one of those like famous people from
Enigmatic characters.
Liverpool.
Yeah,
And because he was in the Wild Swans when Paul Simpson took the Wild Swans to the Philippines in 2011, so
yeah,
he was in the Philippines. He's been there.
yeah.
Uh, um, of course, there are, when the Courtney Love book appeared,
Absolutely.
his name again came up. So
Oh, Mike Moon is an absolute legend. He really is for all the right reasons and all the wrong reasons. Um, I've given him my copy of Revolutionary Spirit to read. You know, so because he only lives across the road from me. He literally lives across the road.
all
I love
right,
him. I love him dearly. As crazy as he is, I love him dearly.
yeah.
He's
Is he still
wonderful.
playing? Is
He's
Mike
got
Moon?
an album coming out in April, I think.
Oh wow!
He's been recording with some guys in Bristol. He doesn't really call publicity, Mike, though. So, but if you want, I'll get you when the album's coming out. I'll
Yeah.
get him up to talk to you. He's a lovely guy.
Oh wow! Well, Mike Mooney, because you posted recently on Facebook, you posted an album, which so like Mike Mooney was one of the members of it, called a band called Balcony Dogs.
Oh,
Um,
Balcony Dogs, yeah.
yeah, I got to know of Balcony Dogs because someone posted, like many years ago, someone posted it on Facebook, and I remember they were called like the Sex Gods before, but apparently the name was banned or something, so they
Yeah,
had to
but
sort of like
yeah.
change it. Yeah, that's a brilliant sort of like album. I really liked that
I love
Balcony.
that album. Luckily enough, I know Andy, the singer, Andy Eastwoods, and he gave me a. I hadn't had a copy of it for ages. I went to his house and he had a vinyl copy, and he let me have it. So lovely.
Oh, you
Thank you,
were
Andy. But
you,
I
you
love that album, especially Rings of Saturn, songs like that. It's just one of those typical. They just should have been massive. They had
yeah,
all those superstars that were Gary Dwyer from Teardrop playing drums, and you know
yeah.
it was it should have been bigger. Should have been bigger, but
But you didn't sort of like become one of their members. You didn't sort of like
no,
end
no,
up
I would have
joining.
loved to. I would have loved to, but they had Peter Freitas and Gary Dwyer. I don't
That's
think they needed the likes of me around. So um, yeah, they had good drummers already. So.
Well, going back to Ponderosa Glee Boys, you've actually done a second album, and
Yeah,
I think has it already been released, or is it going to be released this year?
there's a third album actually, and there's another one on its way. There's an EP on its way. There's the Demigods of Bedlam, But Carl recorded that in Australia. He done pretty much done that by himself, and just used because, as I said, we had the pandemic, we had
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time differences. It was difficult. Carl just wanted he'd write stuff on a drum machine at home, take it into the studio, and for the best part of it, the studio engineer there would do it, or he'd just bring their local drummer in and he'd play it for whatever Carl had programmed. So it didn't feature on that, but it's still a good album. There's a lot of good songs on there, and I look forward to playing them when he comes over again.
I believe you are gonna be doing like gigs or maybe a tour, so like to
Yeah,
promote
I
that
did.
album.
Yeah, hopefully that's all still going to happen. Yeah, Carl's planning to come over in summer, and I think we'll do the best of the three albums. He's got some stuff that we recorded a while ago. I won't tell you what the title is because it's only a working title and it's terrible. But he's got stuff with me playing already recorded, which sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds like Joy Division esque style, which is
Wow.
I'm looking forward to doing, hopefully developing some of that when we get back together. But summer, fingers crossed, we're going to be doing gigs together in England.
And it's gonna be with Mike Mooney as well. Is he gonna be playing
Well,
with?
he's Mike's enigmatic as ever. If he's got his own album to promote, maybe not. But he has agreed with me that he'd do it.
Oh, brilliant!
But that doesn't necessarily mean he'll do it. So there's a lot can happen between now and then. But I hope he does it. He wants to do it. I would be fun. It wouldn't be the same without him. So be nice to.
Yeah, it would be nice as well because I would definitely be there because I missed out when the Wild Swans actually did a mini tour in 2011. Where Mike Mooney was playing with Paul Simpson. I missed out on that one. I was like one of those times when you're busy at work because I used to have a shop and I didn't realize because I wasn't into. I mean, now I'm really on Facebook like most of the
Well, I
time.
was just going to say, how'd you get time to work when you did all these gigs that you go to? It's
but now I'm actually so like at the time I was so clueless about it. It's like Paul Simpson. How could I have missed the Wild Swans at the time? But anyways, hopefully I'll get to see Mike Mooney someday. And
well, fingers crossed. With the Ponderosa Glee boys, that should be.
Yeah.
But I'll get you an introduction when he's got the album coming out. If you want to see if he's willing, I'm sure he'll talk to you.
Oh, that's brilliant. That would be good. Thank you. Well, now let's talk about the band that I actually got to see, the
Okay.
Brigantians.
Right, okay.
that's actually I don't know what I was expecting because when I saw you play, it's I didn't know about the things and I didn't know what it's going to be like. What do you call that genre? Is it like rockabilly or rockabilly or something?
It's old R&B really. It's blues, I suppose. It's R&B. It's a lot of it's 12-bar blues, but it's like it's a lot of. I mean, you probably couldn't tell what was like original covers and what was original material from them because the blend of the stuff they write is exactly like the stuff that they copy. So it's and done really well. So
Yeah.
it's just, to be honest, that happened because we were waiting for our other band, Raw Bones, to get their act together, which is something that probably won't ever happen.
Oh,
But
the Brigantians is. Do you consider that your main band at the moment? Is that?
you know what? No, all the bands I treat equally. Really, I give them as much. But I suppose I would prefer that the Ponderosa Glee Boys was my main band, but they just can't keep the distance. You can't stay busy enough.
Yeah.
And I just and you've got to play. You've got to play. So I love being in the Brigantians. It's a lot of fun. Good. It's a great exercise. I love the tunes that we play. But at the moment, yes. Well, Raw Bones and the Brigantians, while I'm in England, Liverpool at the moment, they're probably my main bands.
Yeah.
I still work on little side projects with people, and I'm still hoping to get at least one decent art house style album out. before, before I
Yeah.
stopped.
You mentioned Raw Bones because I had a look on Facebook. It's the same members as
Enigmatic.
The
Well,
Brigantians.
what? It's only two of us. Two of us are in the same band.
Oh, right,
But
it's not Andy. So Andy's not in the Raw Bones.
Andy's not in the Raw Bones now.
Okay, so it's you and Rex. Is it Rex?
Rex,
This,
yeah,
yeah,
but he plays bass in the Raw Bones and guitar and vocals in the Brigantians. So
yeah, yeah.
but he's just as eccentric in both of them.
And right, because Rex Mundy. I mean, so he was the fourth member of the Stairs.
He was one. Yeah, he was a fourth member for a while. It might have been the fifth member because I think Jason may have been a member still at that time. Yeah,
But
and they toured a little bit around the time of the Mexican R&B thing, and then
yeah.
either personal or musical differences. I don't know which brought it to an end. It was one or the other, or maybe both. I don't know.
It's I actually got I was able to talk to him, but it seemed like he didn't want me mentioning the Stairs. I do love the Stairs. It's one of those bands that I only got to know a few years ago.
Yeah. Oh,
Because of,
I love the Stairs, but I think it was such a small part. He only played a really small part in it, so I don't think he wants to claim anything about it, So he doesn't want to make any big claims like I was in the Stairs when he was only there for probably a couple of months or something like that, So
oh, see, okay, yeah, he's absolutely amazing though, and
incredible musician, absolutely incredible musician. Yeah, he's brilliant.
yeah. When I saw him with an eye patch, I thought there was something wrong with his eye, but it's actually just a costume.
He's just strange, honestly. Trust me. He's just strange.
Because I was like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with your eye."
Yeah. No, it's just showbiz. It's a showbiz prop, I suppose. Some sort of I don't know what goes on in that boy's head sometimes. But,
So, how long have you been? How long have you been playing together? So, Raw Bones were actually before the Brigantians. Is that right?
A long time. The Raw Bones. I've technically been a member, but it doesn't make any difference because they do stuff. If you go on their page, they've got a poster of William Burroughs, and it says appearing periodically, and it's as vague as that. It doesn't even give you dates or anything, And that's the Raw Bones. The Raw Bones, just every now and again, we want to do a gig, and we just all get together and do it. And we know this. We've got about an hour and a half's worth of material of 37 songs that we just know. So we just get together and do. I call it wrong and roll, because they are a bunch of wrong-uns, really, which is what I like about them. So, they're as wrong as you can get. This just shouldn't really be allowed in public. All said and done, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a hell of a lot of fun. More fun than most things I do.
But were they like Ponderosa Glee boys? Have they been around since
weirdly enough, I've known the guitarist since we were 15. He's also from but no, they're I mean, they're like the Cramps when you see them. That's what they're like. They've been together about 12 years or something, 14 years maybe.
Yeah.
But they're all from. They used to go to Eric's and stuff like that, but they weren't in bands back then.
Oh, I see. Okay, so but they're pretty much sort of like a new, we'll just say a new band, not like from the 80s, not like Psychomash or Ponderosa.
No, they've never been part of the scene. They were part of the DIY scene with Pete Bentham and Howard Story and all those people when they were doing Mellow Mellow and the Casimir Gardens and all those, and Casimir. They were part of that scene, but that was much, much later than the known Liverpool scene as such, as the arts mafia of Liverpool, the 80s arts mafia. But lots of luminaries, obviously some great characters in there. So
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what's happening with Robons now? Are you still going or
Yeah, we were. Yeah, um, I even got them to rehearse occasionally. It's
oh,
quite.
okay.
And now there should be. We've got a gig coming up soon. What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? I can't remember what it is. Um, we've got a gig in March. I'll give you a shout. You should come. You should come
Oh,
along for the experience at least.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah, I really like that. Because the Brigantians is sort of like a regular thing, isn't it? You do like regular gigs. Is it
Yeah,
like
that's. I mean, they play once a month at the Chicken Shack, and that's
yeah,
great because we get to play an hour or so, and you're as a drummer, you'd always want to just go out and play, just that's the nothing beats that bit of it, where you get out and play.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and so I'm happy to do that because I know as we move into our scene, I used to kick around and hang, I'd play, be on the scene and just play with whatever. Now I won't say how old, but I'm quite old. I don't go out as much as I did. I don't hang around the way I used to. Um, so when the bands I'm in, the more gigs they get, the happier I am. Really, I just like to get out and play as much as possible. Really.
yeah. Well, that's good because people do want to see you play. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say hello to Steve Watson because Steve
Ah.
actually like, yeah, he's seen you a few times, I
Yeah.
believe,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's mentioned another band that you're in called Ruby Tears.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because now I googled Ruby Tears. Apparently, this is like again, it came up during COVID, and it's or born out of COVID, but
Yeah.
it's a Manchester Liverpool band. So there's like members from Manchester and members from
There's
Liverpool.
one
Is
member
that
from
right?
Manchester and there's Jeff from Liverpool. Um, yeah, they put together it's quite impressive bunch of songs that they wrote for the first time in a collaboration. But again, what we were saying before about they just put them out as when they were demos before they were finished. So I was never on any of it, you know.
But
Um,
when they toured it or when they did gigs, you were their drummer.
I
Is
was
that
when they
right?
went for the gigs. I was the drummer. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, so are you still part of Ruby Tears
No,
or?
no, we just beginning of last year. We just went our separate ways. They wanted to carry on in the vein. I wanted to contribute in a different way. That wasn't possible, so we just went. We just decided to leave it where it
Oh,
was.
right, okay. So
Yeah.
nothing as far as Ruby Tears. So you're not going to be sort of like playing with them
No, I
anymore.
won't. No, no, no. I won't be
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
anything. You know. Yes, I mean, I know Steve's been to see. He came to see that at the where was it? What was the um? I know he came to see us at Zanzibar. Actually, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
But he also came to see me in the Ponderosa Glee Boys. I don't think he's seen me in the Brigantians yet or the Bro Bones, but Steve, come along. You're welcome. Um, but yeah. I mean, I know he's a fan of Ruby Tears. There's a few, yeah, and they get a lot. This sort of some of the local podcasts play their stuff all the time, and it definitely translates. It's good, yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Well, yeah, because I see Steve Watson sometimes at gigs because he's another one who goes to a lot of gigs, so it's good. So hello, Steve, and thank you. Also on Facebook, I have seen photos of you playing with. This is really amazing. It's like with Ian Prowse,
Oh, and
Steve
Carl Hunter, yeah,
Steve
yeah,
Roberts, and Tony Elliott from 16 Tambourines, and
that's
also
right.
Carl Hunter of the Farm.
Yeah. That was we done the small faces bits. Yeah, it was great. That was what was that for?
Is
Uh,
it
that,
for John Hodgkinson? I think it's
that's
like yeah, yeah.
that's it.
I mean,
Yeah, because Denise was there as well, wasn't she? Um,
yeah.
yeah, that was great. We just done a couple of numbers. I got up with Steve Roberts and Tony, and we done some impromptu. They just said, "Yeah, I'll get up and do this." What was the song? And I said, "Oh, I don't know that." And he said, "You do?" And then he told me what it was, and I said, "Oh yeah, I do know that one." So and it was great. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Carl Hunter's such a lovely guy, and does so much for the local music and young
Yeah.
musicians coming through. It's brilliant. And it was a good cause. It was to celebrate John Hodgkinson, as you
John
said,
Hodgkinson. Yeah,
who'd
yeah,
been around for a long time, doing wonderful stuff, reviewing bands. Just the scene needs people like that constantly, as you know, like yourself, who help us
oh,
promote what we do. Otherwise, we don't get noticed. So
yeah. Oh,
it
no,
was a good occasion. But yeah, it was great to get up there with Carl as well, and Prowsey.
yeah.
I think fucked up in the middle, eh? But there you go. You can't do everything.
But I see these are sort of like I didn't know that you're also in. Like you played with Steve Roberts because Steve Roberts and 16 Tambourines, they are another one that's sort of like really popular in the Philippines, and
Yeah, well,
we
again,
love Steve Roberts.
Max played with them, and
Yeah,
and the,
Tony
and the
Matthew
other
as well.
and the other Mark Robbo. There's another Mark Robbo who he also played drums with 16 tambourines.
Yeah,
Right, so
yeah,
there's even more than one Mark Robbo in Liverpool who plays drums. So and he, but yeah, that the Steve Roberts thing was on the same day as the Carl Hunter thing. I think there's a little they're both up there. There's short films of them, but yeah,
yeah, yeah.
great to do.
And I've also just saw like because I do like searching on Facebook whenever I do so like my script for Ask the Drummer, and I've seen a clip where you were actually at the Mick Head gig in Liverpool in June, and it was like you. It
I've been
was
to a lot of Mickhead gigs.
this was before I actually met you, so you are so like you've got connections with Mick Head as well, because as you know, I mean, I'm a big Mick Head
Oh,
fan.
I love Mick. I love
So,
Mick dearly, and his music's brilliant as well. As is his brother John. Is
yeah, yeah.
as John's beautiful as well. Um, yeah. I'm looking forward to the next album. I'm looking forward to the book actually, Mick's book. I can't
Yeah.
wait to see that. Uh, that's
um, so that news about new book, new tour, new single, new album,
yeah,
that was
fantastic.
just amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, we went to his wedding. He got married to Saida
To
a
say
short
that, yeah.
while. Yeah. Who's I don't. Yeah. Do you know her daughter Samia?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. 'Cause I've seen her play as well. She's
So, so
amazing.
many beautiful people in Liverpool. This is why it's popular. All these beautiful people, all these beautiful artists,
Very
and
talented as well. Very
and
talented people.
Samuel's stuff's fantastic, and their mum Saeed is beautiful, and Mick and Saeed are together, fantastic, and
Yeah,
it's just lovely to see everything coalesce with Mick, and everything sort of come into focus properly because everyone's been thinking he should have done this a long time ago. He'll do it when he's ready, and he's doing it now. So I'm looking forward to it all. Fingers crossed.
oh yeah, I am looking forward to it as well. I've got my tickets for the tour, so it's another one that I'm
As
gonna be I'm
as the
gonna be
Philharmonic
following
sold,
him.
as the Philharmonic sold out already.
I believe so, yeah, yeah, because that's not
Wow!
in December. But
Friday the 13th as well.
yeah, well, the May tour starting in Glasgow and then to Manchester with the end. So I've got my tickets for that. So I'm really looking forward to
Oh,
it.
yeah, I might catch
Um,
Mick out to town one then.
but so did you ever get to play with Mick Head and John Head?
Not play. No. Do you know what? I used to drive them everywhere when they released Zilch, and it was when I just got back from Holland in 1986. I just started hanging around with Mick and John because we partied in a similar fashion. Which I'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
And so I ended up driving Mick and John around the country because we all partied together, and that was part of the partying thing that we were doing. But I was with them in Paris when they first played with Arthur Lee. I was sort of, I was just an associate really, and I've joined in, but I couldn't say I've played with Mick now. I couldn't say that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, there was a there was a story about something that their master tape was left in a
oh yeah,
car
Water
or
Pistol.
something. It
What,
wasn't. It
what,
wasn't you.
no, that wasn't me. That was in America. I think didn't they live in a cab in America? after they got out. Yeah, that's very typical of Mick and John now, especially at that time. Uh, um, this. I'm sure if we had more time, I could think of quite a few anecdotes of our time on the road. Even the Millennium gigs, when we were doing Cardiff Arms Park with Catatonia and all those things. The time in Glastonbury when we met Michael. There's so many things, and they're all of them calamitous affairs, but all the more fun for being so. Yeah, I'm sure I could tell you a lot about it, but I can't say that. Unfortunately, I would love to play with Mick. I love loads of the stuff he does. I love the Red Elastic Band. But yeah, that's just the way it is. Just not
Yeah.
how it pans
Well,
out.
recently, Tom Powell released an
Oh yeah,
album,
great album. I
Defo,
like that. Love that. Yeah.
and Mick had actually played bongos in
Yeah,
a
Mick.
couple of the songs. I couldn't believe it. Exactly.
No,
So
Mick's one of those people, very spontaneous. Where if he likes the idea, it doesn't have to be high-minded or anything. Mick just goes for it. There's Mick's spontaneity in such matters is brilliant. He doesn't stand on ceremony in any way. If he likes it, he'll do it. So
yeah.
it's good.
Has
And
he
that
ever?
album by Tom's great anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Has he ever saw ask you to teach him how to play drums or something?
No,
Has he-
who Mick? Mick or Tom? No, I'm not the guy to ask anyway. You'll just get Adam Goldberg if you want to learn to play drums. He's the man. But yeah, no, he's good. Yeah, I love. Yeah,
Yeah, he's brilliant. I mean, I'm really looking forward to everything that's going to be happening in May and this year, because I
yeah,
think 2024 is Mick Head's year. So sorry.
yeah,
There's,
yeah. Fingers crossed. I'm looking forward
yeah,
to the book.
yeah. Well, moving on now, because I mean, I could ask you so many things about Mick Head, because I'm always interested in all these stories about Mick Head, but
Oh, yeah.
it's about you. So I want to ask you then, when you're not drumming, what keeps you busy? Because I have also seen photographs of, I don't know, were you or are you a pilot?
Oh, flying lessons. I had some flying lessons. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had about 10 flying lessons there, spread over quite a period of time. It's just something I love to do sometimes. I haven't done it enough to get pilot's license, but I could do a pilot's license in the short term because of the amount of time I've actually spent already. But yeah, I do like to go up every now and again and just do that. It's good.
So you
But
you can fly a, I don't know,
well,
helicopter.
the plan is if the zombie apocalypse ever happens, I can break into the airport and escape. But I can technically yes. You wouldn't want to put your life in my hands at that point. Though I've taken off, I've landed about 6 or 7 times. Each time completely different. Fantastic, exhilarating experience. Some 1 or 2 of them were fairly scary. But yeah, technically I could start a plane, take off, fly, and land. Yeah, definitely.
Is this something that you want to do further, maybe become a commercial pilot
Do
thing,
you know
or?
what? I've thought about it on and off. I wouldn't mind going if I was to go to say living somewhere like Australia. I would. A plane's a useful thing because of how big the country is. I was talking to Carl about going over there. Because life's life. Sometimes you just fancy passages new and you want to do different things. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think if I was to move out to Australia, I would definitely get a pilot's license and fly.
Well, Aiden said that he's impressed because Aiden is also into planes, but
Oh,
he's only doing the flying in the simulator,
oh wow. Okay.
not in real life.
Well, Anna, you need to get him a present of flying lessons in Liverpool. Really, because you can go up in a Cessna or a Cherokee or a Tomahawk, single-engined aircraft. It's quite cheap. It's not that expensive. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh
Now,
wow.
Valentine's Day coming up, you know what to do.
Right. Maybe. It just looks a bit so like scary though, especially if you not really an
It,
experience. So like
oh, it can be quite, especially in the small planes. It's like flying a Robin Reliant in the wind. It's just not. It doesn't feel that safe. You feel like you're standing still when you're up there, because nothing moves. You just sort of like, wow. And you're only doing about 70 kilometers an hour anyway, which is not that fast. Um, you feel like you could fall out the sky at any minute in those things, but it's part of the fun.
I suppose so.
Maybe I've got a weird sense of fun. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask you now the regular questions that I always ask at the end. Um, when you play the drums, do you actually do the twirling, the stick?
No, I do it every now and again. I'll do it. Yeah, you said this to me the other night. Oh, you don't do the twirling.
Yeah.
Um, now, if you want to see a drummer that twirls amazingly, it's the drummer out of the Dry Wretch. He's just a show on his own. He's
Yes.
just fantastic. You just honestly go and watch him, because he twirls all night long. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
Um,
I have seen him. I think it was early January of last year. They played in Manchester.
right.
And at the time, I actually saw a couple of drummers who are very good at like stick
Yeah,
twirling.
it's not an important part of drumming, but it's an important part of showmanship. So no, but he for me is one of the best. The guy at the Dry Wretch, he's the best. He's one of the best I've seen in a long time doing all that.
Yeah.
Um,
So you don't think you'll be doing it and
I won't be.
practicing
I won't be. I won't be
it?
practicing it now. No, no.
What about drumming heroes? Who are your drumming heroes?
Well, Ringo, obviously. The '60s drummers: Keith Moon, John Densmore, Mitch Mitchell. They're the guys who really informed my style, or what I liked to listen to.
Yeah.
But and then there's a few modern drummers, people who do dance rock crossovers. That's they that I listen to those people. So most of the time I don't even know their names. I just play along to their records. So yeah. But if I was to say anything, it would be Mitch Mitchell, John Densmore, Ringo, Mitch Mitchell,
Ringo.
John Densmore, Keith
Yeah.
Moon, Bonham, obviously for the slow stuff. The, it's all the classic drummers, because drumming.
Yeah.
They were all at points when drumming was transitioning. Ringo was just when it was moving from the swing bandit and rock and roll into this rock and roll solid beat drumming style. And John Densmore is just highly original. He's got this like jazz influenced military style, and when he had to play along with Jim Morrison, which was no easy thing to do. This, and Mitch Mitchell could triplet his way out of any situation. You got to love him for that. Oh yeah, and Woody Woodmansey from Dave Bowie, who
Oh
played
yeah.
with Dave Bowie, who
Yeah.
I got to meet, and which was fantastic.
Yeah.
So they're just those guys, because that's when I was a teenager, and that was when they were the people I loved.
Yeah. It's not like at Stocky and you wanted to be, like inspired you to do some drumming and things like. Well,
Yeah.
Tony O'Keefe. I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if you know Tony. Yeah.
I
I've
know.
just
I don't
seen.
know him. No, I know what you mean though. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just seen his post about Ringo. Well, it's not Ringo doing the tour, but it's about Ringo's style of drumming, and somebody else was sort of like doing the tour, and it's like Q&A and things. And I think there was one in Liverpool yesterday.
All
And I
right.
saw the website, and there's one actually today. I wouldn't have minded going if it was in the evening, but when I looked on the website, it's at 11 o'clock in the morning. So I was too late.
No self-respecting drummer is up at 11 o'clock in the morning ready to play.
I was
No,
all,
never mind. Do a show. Yes. What sort of
I was all
inhuman
like
situation is
thinking,
that?
yeah. Well, Tony O'Keefe posted that Chris Sharrock was actually at that event last night. There
Yeah,
was
well,
in
Chris is
Liverpool.
usually anything to do with the Cavern and Tony O'Keefe. What the Shakers is it? Tony's band.
Yeah, the Shakes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I used to. Well, in the street where I grew up, the original guitarist with the Shakers, a guy called Eddie Harrison, played on Paolo Nutini's album. He was, yeah. I sort of grew up with one of the original members, so I was sort of being aware of them because I always keep an eye on people I know's bands and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But he's a great drummer. Tony is a fantastic drummer. Seen him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, do you also like when drummers get together? Do you
Yeah,
always like
we never
keep
talk about
track of
drumming.
each other and so like find out what each other is doing or one another's
No, we don't talk about drumming. We talk about the other musicians in the band. And how much we hate them and how they make our lives difficult and all that sort of stuff, you know.
What about because I know you've been drumming for so many years and a long time. So what about accidents, drumming accidents or disasters? Have you ever like hurt yourself or
No, my brother did. My brother was in a band called Dead Men's Suits, and he got up on stage drunk once and fell off the back of the stage. But I've never had major accidents like that. I've had the PA fall down around me and things. Yeah, no, nothing major, nothing I
no?
can think.
It's
No,
not like I remember one time where Steve Grantley was sort of like saying that there's a thing that came off from the stick and it went into his eye or something. So nothing like that has happened to you.
nothing
So
that bad. I mean, I do get I get things where a stick will snap or stuff like that. I think even on the
yeah,
night you saw us with the Brigantians, I think one of my sticks snapped in the middle of a song. You know. But yeah,
just
no, they just
new
little
one.
things. Nothing. No, I haven't fallen over or the stage collapsed or anything like that. You know, I haven't spontaneously combusted or anything. You know. No.
What would
There's
be
still time though. There's still time.
there's still yeah, yeah. Well, what would be your advice to aspiring drummers or musicians out there?
And
So, like,
uh, enjoy it and don't be late. What would I say to it? Just get out there and I see like Sonny McGuigan and people. They're gonna love it. They're gonna just how you get a life less ordinary and enjoy the ride. Be stick to your work and it'll give you a decent life if you're half good. So
yeah. Is it easier for musicians now to sort of like get their music out there? Because I always sort of like think that now that there's the internet,
well,
it,
you
it,
think so with the internet. It's like all of a sudden everyone's got their own media station. You know that. And compared to say the 70s or 80s when we used to go out, you'd be a lot of legwork. You'd put posters up, you put flyers out, you'd take an advert, and you put you sort of self promote. Now you just go online, go we're doing this, and you hope it gets through to the people. But somehow you think that's easier to get it out there, but it seems to get through to fewer and fewer people. I don't know why. I don't know why that should be the case.
yeah. It's always maybe it's better in the old days when you had like the PR people or the marketing
But there's so many of those people have gone by the wayside now. There used to be a whole culture of promotion and all the things that people used to interact. Now they don't interact anymore. It's all on the keyboard.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same. It's the same with musicians. They're not going and hanging around in each other's rehearsal rooms the way they were. They just pass things around on the internet to each other. It's weird, but I'm sure it'll just yield its own fruit.
Yeah.
And it's just it's the same thing going about it in a different way. It's just like a change of format for the industry, I suppose. So
I'm gonna sort of like say because I know it's nearly 3:30 now, but are there any other bands that haven't sort of like mentioned? I haven't found out that you were in.
I can't remember.
You
I
wanted
can't.
to talk about?
I don't
No.
think so. I don't think I just there probably is, but I really can't remember right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, is there any chance of sort like getting Psychomesh back together and maybe doing
Well,
like a reunion?
we that would be interesting. We could probably Mick Head's favorite song was "Romby Parallels." We can maybe get together and do that. No, we can't. We can't find the bass player. We don't know where the bass player lives anymore. I think he's in Manchester making films somewhere. Gary Williams. Um, Gary, if
Yeah.
you're out there, you fancy a reunion?
Yeah, because
um,
Jam Kelly is still online. I mean, you can sort like get in touch with Jam Kelly. And
yeah. I mean, Jem's in a different world now, and he's got his boy Raphael racing and all that stuff, which is all
yeah,
lovely to see. You know what? We haven't thought about it, and it doesn't seem likely somehow. But you never know.
yeah, never say never.
Never say never. Yeah, of
Especially,
course.
I didn't realize that actually Mick Head is sort of like also a fan of Psychomesh.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Mick had told me about. He said, "You don't remember it." He said, "I used to work in the photography shop above the Lisbon." He said, "Me and the bass player went in there one day, and he dared us the night before on the Phil Ross show, and he was all like, oh, he was awed by us, you know."
wow.
But Mick's got a really good tape of ours. If he's still got it, that is, because it's from
Yeah,
1978 or something like that. But yeah, Mick liked us before he'd done anything, you know.
yeah, because I
It's that
also,
era. Sorry, it's
because
that
I
in,
also
in
really,
the
oh
Paul
sorry, yeah, go on. Pardon, sorry.
in the Paul Simpson book. He describes meeting Mick Heads on Rodney Street. It was that time, it was exactly around then that when Mick was liking us, because he was still thinking of forming a band, and
Yeah.
and the rest is history, as they say. How many
Well,
albums later? So yeah.
yeah, it's only recently that also I found out about the Mick Head Paul Simpson connection as well, because that's why
Um,
I've been looking forward to this
I,
sort of like.
yeah, I know what you mean, but all the Liverpool musicians from, especially from that era, we know each other regardless. We're all connected one way or another. So it's great
Yeah.
though. It's good.
When are you going to do your book? It seems like everyone's got their
I'm
take
not.
on
No,
it.
I've got so much more than just the music. If I was going to put it in a book, um, I haven't even thought about that. But yeah, I look forward to Mick's book. That's
Yeah.
you know.
It's just nice, all these different like Ian Brody's, Paul Simpson,
Yeah.
Will Sargent as well. Don't
Yeah,
forget
two
Will
books for
Sargent.
Will, wasn't it? Two books for Will Sargent. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
then now, Mick Head's book is coming out. So
I'm
all
looking
these things
forward to
got
Pete.
Liverpool.
I'm hoping Pete Wiley's got one coming out soon.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
That's that's going to be, you know, that's one
yeah.
to look forward to. So,
well, thank you so much. So, we'll look forward to Ponderosa Glee Boys, hopefully
summer, yeah,
in the
fingers
summer.
crossed.
Yeah, and Raw Bones as well, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come along to one of the shows and experience
Yeah,
the
and
wrongness of the raw bones.
yeah, I'm sure we'll find out about it on social media on
Yeah.
Facebook. So, but anyways, thank you so much, Mark.
Thanks,
Really,
Dana.
I mean, legend in Liverpool. That was
Oh
just
well.
so good. So, and see you again soon.
Take care,
Yeah,
Anna.
hopefully.
Thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
you too. Thank you so much.
Bye, Anna.
But,
Thanks.
bye for now. Bye. Bye,
Thanks,
Mark.
Anna. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all so much, everyone, for joining us live. It's so nice, Mark. I told you before that he's really well loved, and he's like played with all these sort like amazing people in Liverpool. I mean, I could ask him more about Mick Head, but maybe I should get Mick Head as like on Ask the Drummer as a bongo player or something. But I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, next week we're gonna have another amazing guest, so do keep an eye out for the guest announcement post for that. But for now, I just want to say thank you all so much, and as always, love music, love life, love drummers, especially in this month of love in February. They're drummers are just so amazing. We've seen Mark Robson, how brilliant he is. So that's it for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and hope to see you all again next week. Bye for now. Bye.